So, are you curious about the origins of satin crystals? My name is Sheila from Satin Crystals, and today we are talking about the birth of your favorite crystal shop. Before we begin, I thank you for liking our video, subscribing to our channel, and always bringing your positive energy to our world. So, story time. This story begins with my dad. This was over 20 years ago, and he was looking for a career change. He was already in his late 50s, but he was doing some digital mapping stuff, and he wanted to do something more meaningful. So he started to take courses in hypnotherapy at a school down in Los Angeles. There, he also learned crystal healing. He fell in love with the healing world, and he started to teach these things to others. He also opened his own school called the California Hypnosis Institute. And this institute he took to his home country of India. It still exists there today. My dad passed away in 2006, but he has left this legacy behind along with satin crystals. Meanwhile, I had just come back from the East Coast, back to California once again. I had just broken up with my boyfriend of 4 years, and I was miserable doing temp work. So my dad offered for me to take over the crystal side of their business. Because at this point, he and my mom were traveling all around the world, teaching students. Wherever students were interested, they would go. So they went to around the US, they went to Europe, they went to Asia, they went to South America. Wherever students were interested in their hypnotherapy and crystal healing, they went to go teach, and they sold crystals there as well, but they didn't have a base for their crystals. So I agreed, and we started the crystal business here in California. At first, we would just go to trade shows. So we would haul all of our crystals every weekend, packing and unpacking, growing those muscles. At different types of trade shows, metaphysical, new age shows, psychic fairs, gem fairs, hypnotherapy conferences, anywhere where people were interested in healing crystals. And we did that for some time. At one of these shows, my dad was speaking to a vendor, and the vendor told him about eBay, that he had started selling on eBay. At that point, it's the early 2000s, e-commerce is not so popular yet, so we weren't really familiar with online shopping, but we were curious. So we started to dabble a little bit in the online world. Meanwhile, my sister Lisa moved back from Thailand. She was there for a few years, and she also joined the crystal business. And then a few years later, she moved up to San Francisco and wanted to open a retail satin crystal store. So she opened the store. She invited me to come up and help her run the store. So that's how I ended up here in the Bay Area. We had our shop, Satin Crystals, in Nob Hill. Some of you might know it, may have been there in person. It was a great success. There was a lot of curious customers because at that time, crystals were not so popular as they are now. And so people would come in, they would be curious about crystals and how they could heal. And people who were already healers were very appreciative that they had a source to go to locally. In the back room of our shop, we also did healing sessions and we taught classes. So it was great, but in less than a year, Lisa and I looked at each other and we said, retail is not for us. We decided to close the shop and just focus exclusively online. Because at this point, online was taking off. It was around 2009, 2010, and so we decided let's focus just online. The next few years, we did online, but we were separate. So I had iDig Crystals. Lisa maintained the Satin Crystals name, and my mom was down in Southern California doing Sunny Crystals. So we had 3 different shops. We were all working separately online because we kept moving around. We weren't physically ever together. Sometimes we were, but most of the time we were everywhere. So we're doing our own thing for a while until just a few years ago, some of you might remember our email, that we decided we could combine everything once again, combine all the stuff we have learned over all of these years and create a mega Satin Crystals store once again. So this happened and we decided that now we are going to focus on marketing, on content creation, so we can bring you a lot of information through videos, through articles, and have an email list. So we branded ourselves and we were able to create a trustworthy shop where healers could come and they knew that they were going to get the best crystals and a lot of information as well. So that is where we stand now. That was the crystal side of the business. As for the healing aspect, I didn't get into it right away. When my dad asked me to join the crystal business, I thought they were pretty and it was a great thing to sell, but I didn't quite know the healing properties. Growing up, we didn't have any of the energy healing aspects in our life. We didn't even have any religion or doctrines or anything like that. My dad, as I said, came from India, and my mom came from Thailand. They met here in the USA, and when they had us kids, it was kind of like a blank slate. So we didn't go by any religion particularly. The motto was just to do good, don't harm others, be happy. Simple, efficient, it was great, no stress. The healing aspects came later once my dad did start to take those hypnotherapy courses. And then my sister and I traveled to India and took my dad's hypnotherapy course in India as well. So we learned about hypnotherapy, past life regression, power of the mind, and healing crystals. And all of these things we incorporated into our business. When we had retail, we would practice in person, but now that we are exclusively online, we like to share this knowledge through our articles, through our videos, through our products. That is our story about Satin Crystals in a nutshell, according to my perspective. If you have been with us for a while, we thank you. If you are just new here, we welcome you. We need all the positive souls that we can get here to spread that crystal energy around the world, light up our lives with positivity. Thank you again.